Now you can hear how the shimmer is really bouncing off and the percussive element. Now we're creating that depth, right? We're creating that distance. So we're moving away. We're creating that separation. Okay, we've talked about this, right? So we're wanting to create a bigger stereo space. We're creating a bigger sort of image of what's happening, and we're subconsciously allowing the song to sort of start moving away, right? And using a good amount of effects and different effects can really start creating that distance. We're creating that sort of canyon effect, right? So instead of me being super close, we're moving back and we're creating that depth, right? When we're creating that separation, so we even though we are building, we're also moving away. Okay, we're drawing less and less attention to the song, and giving indication that we're about to switch over. And so then the example I mentioned, I was just talking about, we're adding the effects in musically, right? So, boom, and I know from working on years on my own production and working with effects and mixing my own work that I've created, the way that I am approaching it is from, okay, the perspective of, if it was a song that I created, what else could I do in a live mix, right? So we are performing it, we're doing a live version of it. What can we do in the live version of it that makes it special, that makes it unique for what we're doing, okay? And this is one example of what we can do. Okay, so as we're adding the effect, we allow it then to escape into the stereo space, and coming back in, escaping into the stereo space. We're adding the effect in, we release at the tail, then we're adding in the pad effects to double down on that tail. Then we're switching between them, right? We're creating that tension release, tension release, tension release, tension release, tension release. And we're allowing things just to build, multiply, multiply, multiply. And now we're switching. So we're going, instead of going 1, 2, 1, 2, we're 1, 1, 1, 1, and we're just banging, banging, and banging on that 4 to the floor, really amping it up. And allowing that tail to come in, so you play, release, creating that space, that image that we want. And in your headphones, you can really feel, you can really hear it. And when we release, with a fader slide like this, that quick cut trans effect, what you're doing is you're cutting up the mix, creating that separation, pushing it out, showing people that, giving an indication that something big is about to happen. Just when people are expecting that big sort of, moment, you cut things off. And you allow the effect tails to dissipate, push out into the stereo space, create that depth, that width, okay? Push it up, and if you can, create that height, you're pushing it up in, Now, we're musically waiting for it to dissipate, waiting for the tail to finish off, and then we bring in the next song.
What's wrong with these people? I'm telling you shit, he wants fucking bass head. I told you that. Everybody knows the more talent.
From my perspective, it's super confusing. Okay, well, what the hell is going on right now? So we've created this massive call that built up this tension. Okay, what is about to happen?
That sound now, sir. It's a sound that no.
And this is a moment where you can really just throw something left field and invigorate your audience and really get them going.
Nobody else has. That's the thing. If he asks fucking 20 other guys to send them music, they're all gonna sound kind of the same.
Okay, so you're adding this deep sort of heavy trap sounding, hip hop vibe to things with some of those dubstep elements in there, and then you're also manipulating it with adding your live edit as well in there. So you can see how we, as we talked about this in the previous one, you're creating those live edits. That's what we're doing here. So we are manipulating the focus, the tension in the song. So instead of it going to the first drop, which I know isn't as heavy, we
fucking 20 other guys to send them music, they're all gonna sound kind of the same.
and then we cut to the next one, right? And to help with any sort of clip sound you might have between the two or anything like that, that might happen in such a strong cut, with any of the information that's there, especially in the low end, we add a bit of a quick effect.
To send the music, they're all gonna sound kind of the same.
You're adding in an effect, adding that bit of a crush onto that vocal, bring it back in, switch over. In this case, what I mentioned, I didn't do. Okay, so I did it beforehand, and in those situations, it's because what I didn't realize here is that it's finishing the vocal point, so there must be there might be just less information, it's not a lot of information. Then you're switching over to a point that only has like the vocal or like cappella or something. So you don't have to deal with too much information in those situations, and you can then smoothly blend them in. If it was heavier, with a lot of low end and everything, and you're cutting it, you just want to be mindful of that cut and perhaps add in like a crush to mediate that cut. Okay, so let's look at one more time.
Same. The music, they're all gonna sound 20 other guys to send the music, they're all gonna sound kind of the same.
Again, we're playing with the music, right? So I'm consciously thinking, okay, this song's a little more crunchy. I know the drop. The crush effect, that color, that sound color with this type of song is going to work well. So this is when, if you're asking, what effect should I use when, again, it's catered to the type of song, the texture of the piece of music you're working with. So I know that in this situation, it's a little bit darker, and it does have elements of that big crush. And using this effect, using that crush effect, helps. It complements the track very well. And you can apply it to that vocal and then cut in the drop. You also notice we are deliberately activating that effect on a particular line in the vocal. Okay, and yes, I'm serious. Okay, this is when we are, again, you're looking at music from a multi-dimensional standpoint. Okay, you're not looking at music from a face value, you're looking at more from a creative perspective. Then you're looking at not only just here's a song, but the musical content of it, the lyrics, what is being said in this music, okay, and how can I work with that? You have X amount of songs, why pick this one? And look, caveat, not every song's like that. Some songs just are cool, and I don't pay attention to the lyrical stuff. The melodic content is really key for me there. But some songs, the lyrical content is important for me, and in those cases, I will highlight that through an effect or something like that.
3 other guys to send the music, they're all gonna sound kind of the same.
3 other guys with similar kind of music, all gonna sound kind of the same, and I purposely affect that vocal there just to give it a little more of, a bit of sort of calling, and then we go. Yeah. And for me, subconsciously, that adds a little more aggressiveness to the whole thing. So you already have a bit of a sort of call out. Similar guys playing the same kind of thing, all gonna sound the same. And then for me, it's like, you're calling it out lyrically, you're adding a bit of an effect there. Subconsciously, it's already adding a bit of a sort of angst. And then you go into this really sort of deeper sort of chorus drop section, and it adds a bit more weight onto what's happening. And to me, subconsciously, listening to the vocal content a little bit more because you've highlighted a key moment in the vocal line.
We bring that G shit.
The percussive element, melodic content is distorted, but the melody isn't, right? So we've done a flip around. So we quickly crushed it, and now we've flipped it. Now the percussive elements, the bass elements are distorted, and the vocal line's clean. Playing with that, so we're doubling onto that, adding that secondary beat with it. Particularly in the Cyberpunk Utopia universe, that live mix series, it's a little more malleable. It's a little more forgiving to the way I'll approach mixing. And this is when we can play around with the turntable, play around with the pad effects, the vinyl break, reverse it, add a slip function, go wild with it. It's more forgiving.